Live from Austin, Texas, it's the internet's craziest advice show, Answering for a Friend. Right now, here's your hosts, Clint, Baker, and Mia. Hey, what's up, gang? It's Clint and Mia. How y'all doing? Welcome back for another episode of Answering for a Friend, where we answer the internet's craziest questions. That's right. Man, I am so happy to have you on with me, Mia. Holy smokes.
I'm so happy to be here.
I feel like it's been weeks.
It's been two. It's been, the week before last. The Thursday before Halloween.
Did you just say, it's been... I'm just kidding.
Will you sing that to me at karaoke, please?
2 weeks? No. That's a fun karaoke song. We got two in the chat and more to come. And holy smokes, we got Rajneesh. Let's throw Rajneesh some props. Rajneesh, I'm giving you the... the air horn. Yeah.
Hey guys, looking forward to the show. It ain't Thursday without Guy Smiley and Avril Lavigne. I'm going to change my name to Avril Lavigne, but she might sue me or something. She
could. She could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, she could. I don't know if Avril watches the show, though. I don't know.
She does.
Does she? I went to a party.
Yes, she does.
I went to a party and she was at it.
She watches the show, Clint.
I know she does. Yeah, well, guys, before we get into this, we need you to do us a favor. Like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell, tell your buddies about us. All of your buddies, tell them all about us. We answer questions here. That's what we do. And without questions, we can't answer anything. So if you've got a question, send it in. If you got a question that didn't make the show for me to type it up and give you your own screen, throw something up in the comments. We'll pop a comment up on the screen and answer a question. And it can be a serious advice relationship thing. It can be a fun, joking question, just whatever. We're just here to have a good time and talk. And if we can help people out, great. If we can make you laugh, great.
Yes.
And if we can't make you laugh, great.
I just make myself laugh.
I'm
just going through life just making myself laugh.
I'm with you. I'm not. I don't really care about these people. I'm doing this for me.
You care so much about these people, though, is the thing about it. You can't even say it with a straight face.
She can't sue you, LOL. That's right. Or I would sue all the Clint Bakers who've tried to steal my thunder.
Copyrighted name. Yeah, but maybe I would try to steal her brand too. Just kidding. That's not a thing.
You got to spell it slightly off just to make it no, that's my name.
I've never loved the way Levine was spelled. I just don't like there's a silent G or something. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So I think I would just spell it. No, well then I guess that would be, what's his name? Adam.
Adam, yeah, you want to be closer to Avril than Adam, I think.
Ooh, I don't know what I want now, you guys. I'm so confused.
It's like Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie is spelled Poughkeepsie, but it looks
Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie.
Or Schenectady. Spell Schenectady.
I can't spell that.
That's why, because they always abbreviate it with the apostrophe. It's they just the first few letters, and it's apostrophe Y, because they're screw trying to type this out. they probably started that because they had so many typos.
Never mind.
EY.
Not gonna work here anymore anyway. That's a Office Space reference. Another one is Worcester, New York. Locals say Worcester, and if you say Worcester, they're like. It's Worcester, man. It's Worcester.
Well, a lot of people say Willamette in Washington. They say Willamette. People like to say Willamette, but it's Willamette. And then there's we have Houston, Texas, but in New York the street's Houston.
And then there's Houston. People that say it with a Y.
Don't pronounce the H. They're like Houston. I went down to Houston.
And then you got man, and I can go all day about City of Austin streets. Yeah. And
City of Austin streets are silly. Koenig, Manchac
with an A at the end, and then Guadalupe which is
Oh my god,
Guadalupe.
I've never said Guadalupe. I've always said Guadalupe. Just
Yeah.
so you guys know.
There's a
Yeah,
lot.
they're
Cesar Chavez, Caesar
oh
Chavez.
goodness.
No, there's a bunch, but yeah, that always cracks me up. We got some more people in the chat.
This is a great show. We're
Yeah,
making
we're
some
we're just talking about stuff.
strides.
We're killing some time. Now we're up to 7 in the chat, so it's good. We just need a little warm up.
TV3 says you don't care about me. Clint, how dare you not
I
care?
care about Curtis. Are you kidding me? And he
I
put
put
us.
y'all on the big screen
Yeah.
in your house, or like my face is blown up.
Yes, your face is like whoopsh, like a big screen.
I'm into it.
Yeah. Here's a question from Rajneesh. Here's a question. Should a person move away to a bigger city to pursue their dreams or try to make their dream work where they already are?
It depends on what your dream is.
I have some real answers for this, but
I have some fake answers.
Here's the deal.
I'm just kidding.
I know Rajneesh is a filmmaker, and I also know Rajneesh has interned and done some things. We live in a world where these days you can do a lot from home. So like I do voiceover work. In the past, if you really, really wanted to make it, I mean, you could do radio spots and things like that. But if you want to go big time, if you want to be doing Super Bowl commercials, you got to move to New York or LA. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But we're starting to get to a point in with technology to where you can do stuff from home, and you don't have to even go, if you have the right setup, you can record and do things from home. Filmmaking too. To a point, if you want to get into film festivals and things like that, and if you can find ways to get films made and do that, I guess so. Because like I mean, how many films are actually made in New York or L.A.? Well, a lot, but they're also made in Atlanta and Shreveport and Texas and all over the place. So as far as being a filmmaker, and of course all over places like that in Europe, you know, but there's something about immersing yourself in it. So it's like if I were to move to LA, I'm leaving a whole bunch of things behind to do this, and I'm moving to LA seriously wanting to do voiceover, or seriously and all of a sudden my purpose for being in that city is succeeding in that goal. It's not all the relationships.
But you don't have another choice almost.
Yeah, like my reason for being in Austin, Texas is all the friends and relationships that I have here. But if I move to LA, I'm going to be immersed in it. That's your eat, sleeping, and you know, putting all in on this thing that you want to do. And there's something to be said about that. And I also believe it's like you move there, you end up, whether you're interning for somebody, you know, a big part of it too is like you like, not necessarily as a filmmaker, but I've said this to aspiring actors and stuff. Like when you go to acting school, yes, you're getting taught lessons about acting, but you're also getting in the groove with other actors. And I've said this, it's the same with comedy. Like I did some comedy classes and met a whole bunch of comedians. Next thing you know, I'm hanging out with a bunch of comedians doing stand-up. And it's the same with actors. If all of a sudden you're hanging out with actors all the time, or other filmmakers or people that are in the business, you start hearing about opportunities. Hey dude, you want to come work on this project? You're immersed in that. That becomes your world. So if you really want something, I would suggest doing it at least for a little while. And once you establish yourself and you get a career, you can live wherever the hell you want, because, you know, you're probably going to fly out and film in Atlanta anyway, or fly out to wherever and be on location for so many months out of the year. And it's a tough, and like the entertainment business is one of those businesses where you kind of you can make it without doing that. You could become you know, if you're in a small pond, you can become the big fish in your pond, but what does that compare to the ocean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you can't, but I would suggest if you really love something like that, man, give it 5 years. Go somewhere and go all in. Because if you don't do it, you're gonna end up looking back and being like, man, if I'd have just believed in myself enough to just go balls out all in. And maybe you have, and I don't know enough context in your question, but I say go for it, dude. I say do it. The only thing. If you have a child or a spouse that it affects them, that's a different variable. But if there's no other
Yeah.
variables, I say go for it. What do you think, Mia?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like, what is keeping you where you're located, but also what is your definition of making it? What is your goal? Some people just want to put out content, and it's not necessarily about it, being this huge, humongous, blown up viral thing. Just putting out really good content that's loved by a small audience or whatever. It just kind of depends on what your goals are, I guess, in doing it. And if you can make the move, I would never say no. Like, if it's something that you can make work in your life and it's not being a burden to other people in your world quite as much, like if you have a spouse or children or whatever, then freaking do it. I am going to move out of the city I live in as soon as I can, and I can't wait. And there's no reason to stay in the same place forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about that a lot. That's something that you just mentioned, but I think about what I'm going to think about when I look back on my life. And that is like a big driving force. Like, I'm never going to be like, man, I'm going to look back on my life and be like, I'm so happy I spent 65 years in the same city. I'm probably going to look back on that and be like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why didn't I move to do something different? And if I hate it, can I go back? Right? You probably can always go back. I don't know. I just say, just go for it. Just never, ever make excuses and just do what you can do. The worst case scenario is you just become a homeless person in that city. Just kidding. That's bad advice. Don't listen to that.
What she said, man, and that's another thing too. It's like pursue their dreams and try to make their dreams work from where they. I'm reading over the question again because again, it's like if your dream is to make great films. I've already seen some of your work. You're already making great films, and they're just going to get better.
Yeah.
If your dream is to make a living making great films, that's a different question. You know what I mean? Because you could, who knows? You could end up with a camera rental company or something where you're in the film business and you've got you rent gear to all the filmmakers and do all these things, and then you also make badass films that are independent films.
You never know where it'll take you and who you'll meet.
There's a lot of musicians or aspiring musicians who end up becoming recording engineers and end up being producers, and that ends up being what makes them their money, and they don't ever really get out and tour that much, but occasionally they'll get together with their buddies and play a local show. You know what I mean? They're still doing that, but they're still making a living making music. So that's the deal. I have a feeling you want to go out and make big pictures, and if that's what you want to do, I say go for it. But yeah, there's always a ton of variables, and you just got to be honest with yourself, and don't be scared, because there's nothing that keeps you from, like Mia says, if you don't like it out there, you can always go back. Just play smart. Don't bankrupt yourself where you're stuck in this new giant city. You gotta gamble a little bit, but you also got to play it safe. So, oh, we got a whole bunch of Curtis. I
think he's just spamming us at this point.
I think so.
Huge blown up face. Wicked huge.
He did
Raj?
He does have a good point with this. In America, if you want to be taken seriously, it's pronounced business. That's right.
Business.
All right. Well, let's move on to let's get a question going. We haven't even started questions. We've been on for 20 minutes. We haven't answered one question.
Well, yeah. Also, if you're watching, say hi in the comments so that we can know who your pretty faces are.
That's right. We got 9 peeps. You guys say hello, and let's ask Mia this question.
Oh,
What's ruining your life? Asking for a friend.
Like right now in this moment?
Yeah, like their examples are procrastination, money, laziness, sleeplessness. USB drives is a big one. I put that on the list because every time I plug one in, it's always backwards. I have to flip it. I haven't switched to USB-C. So it's like, how can it be that every time you ever put a thumb drive into a USB drive, it's backwards? Every single time. Maybe twice in my life.
It's not backwards. This is what happens. There's like memes about this. It's right the first time, but you don't want to jam it. You're afraid that you're going to push it too far. So then you flip it over and then it's wrong. And then you flip it over and it's right on the side you'd originally started with. That's how it
It
happens.
it's like the Three Stooges just plugging in a thumb drive.
It's so
I
stupid.
don't
It's so
un-
stupid. Yeah.
I don't
That's not
understand.
ruining my life though.
What's ruining?
Uh,
That's what's ruining my life. What's ruining your life?
What is ruining my life? Nothing's ruining my life. I get the joke is like, oh, it's ruining my life.
Yeah,
But
that was the question.
yeah, late night snacking. I've been doing a lot of that lately.
I have fourth meal.
Exams for
Fourth meal is
fourth
written
meal.
down. Yeah.
That's because I texted you that.
Yeah, and I
texted
wrote
you
some
about my
notes. I was
fourth
like,
meal.
fourth meal. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
my fourth meal has been junk food lately, so that's been fun. But it's fine. It's whatever. What else has been ruining my life? Let's see. I don't have a dog. I don't have a German Shepherd, so that's pretty depressing. Um. Ooh. Let me think here. I'm just kidding. What if I just did that? When would you have interrupted if I didn't stop that noise?
That
Right?
one.
How long would you let me go?
I don't know.
I think that just you know what's really interesting? Procrastination is it's hard for me. Procrastination is really hard for me. I can lay there and literally be thinking about a task I need to get up and do, specifically related to studying. And I'll be like, why aren't you getting up? Why aren't you getting up? Get up, get up, get up. And I'll just think that over and over in my head. I get I get really good work done in the end. However, it would have been better if I had just taken all the time that I had. Why did I just say all the time that I had?
All the time.
I could have taken all the time and I didn't. I just, so procrastination's a big one. Leftover Halloween candy. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one's been really annoying. So because we're having some interesting Texas weather where we're having like some cool nights in the 40s, but then it's getting into like 70s and 80s during the day sometimes, my car, which is supposed to be really intelligent, is telling me that my tires are low. So, when in the cold weather, gas shrinks, and then in the hot weather, the gas expands. So it can't readjust fast enough for the temperatures to change every day. So I've just been driving around with the like 4 tire lights on my car, and I know they're not low, but you would think that there would be a mechanism in the vehicle that would say, hey, we fluctuate because gas is a sciencey thing that expands with but it doesn't ever adjust. So I'm really annoyed by that. That's ruining my life.
I find that particularly amusing because I have the same car as you do.
Does yours do it
but
too?
Mine's doing it too, and except it's the midnight edition. Mine's the midnight edition.
Midnight
So
edition.
I had to run in.
What year is yours?
2019 or 2018.
Okay, I have a little older one. Mine's 16.
Okay. It's the same thing, and it took like 3
But
days.
it's the highest one in its class.
Yeah. So I had to run in, and I have a this is fascinating to the people at home. I have a battery powered like a pump thing, and I threw a couple of pounds of energy in, or of air in there, and I was good. But then for like 3 days, it was saying that only that had it shows my tire pressures and on the display.
Yeah, exactly.
It only had that one tire that I added air. The other one said like nothing. And then today I just looked, and now it took like 4 or 5 days. I finally got all my tire pressures listed on my dash. I wonder what the people at home have to suffer with.
I would just
what a
think
first
that
world
in the
problem.
Car, I would just think that in the car there would be some in the computer would say, okay, when the temperature is reading this, the tires may read this, but it's still enough air because if the temperature goes up. But most places when it gets cold kind of stays cold, so maybe it just can't figure out why we're going from like 80 to 40. I can't figure it out either. So.
We're not driving Teslas, Mia. If we were, that might be a thing. You know what I mean? But like,
is it because I have a mom car? You have a mom car too. Clint.
Mine's Midnight Edition. That gives me black wheels.
Midnight Edition. I'm
black
surprised
wheels
you didn't get the
and
Star
emblems.
Wars one.
Why
didn't you get the Star Wars one?
It looks like a stormtrooper. I mean, that's pretty much.
I know it's the same one. It just doesn't have the Star Wars like stuff on it. Yeah, I've seen the ones with the Star Wars like logo and stuff on them.
Let's
anyway, okay, so that was what's ruining my life. It's stupid. So what I'm saying is I have some pretty easy problems and I have a pretty good life and nothing's really ruining my life, so I have nothing to complain about. Honestly, nothing. This is all dumb stuff. Don't take me seriously. People
Uh,
have real problems going on in the
yeah,
world and I don't.
not sleeping properly. Point in fact, I can't sleep, and it's 3. I'm the same way, dude. I cannot sleep, and I've gotten to a weird. I don't know if I have a health condition, but I feel like now I'm always hot. I can't ever and like
You can't cool down.
no. Anytime I go to sleep, I'm always hot. So it's like it's tough. Now I crank the AC and yeah, and I get to sleep and I sleep well now, but it's like, yeah, it's tough. It's weird. I can't ever sleep a good night's sleep.
I have a problem finding good pillows, so I'm constantly in neck pain, especially on my right side, the way I sleep. And I went through like in the pandemic, I went through like pillow ordering where I went through like 10 pillows that I returned. I couldn't find the right one, and I still can't. So I just sleep with these old, flat, horrible, shitty pillows. And so I just am gonna be in neck pain forever.
You got to get the love sack. What was that thing I sent you
The
earlier?
Love Sack, those things are amazing. They're expensive, but they're so comfortable.
It's like a giant foam beanbag. It looks
It's like a
crazy.
beanbag for adults. Think about capitalizing on the beanbag idea and turning into beanbags for adults that looks like chic living room furniture. Those people are making so much money off that. It's incredible.
It's like a living. I'm not even going to say the joke. It's just a giant love sack. It just
I know what you were
it's
gonna
just like a giant
say.
scrotum. I gotta say it. Okay, I
But
said
they
it.
don't all look like that. They don't all look like the one you sent me a picture of. They have different ones. Natalie says
Oh boy.
hi.
Hi, Natalie. See what else we got here.
Um,
Oh,
Bobby, yo,
Bobby.
Bobby. We have somebody a name I've never seen before.
What's weird is I don't see Natalie in the comments. That's strange.
It's pretty far up there. If you scroll up,
Okay.
it's under.
Oh, we
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah. And then
B boop. Here comes the.
beep boop. Here comes the soup.
Oh, there we go. I don't know who that is.
Why? Why sometimes you don't think it'd be like it is, but then it do. But what is that referring to? I don't know what that's referring
I don't
to.
know either. Let's
But I do get what you're saying. Like sometimes you're like, it shouldn't be this way, but it is this
but
way.
it do, you know?
But it do. I get it. I get it. Procrastination is not a problem. It shows you work better under pressure. CB3. I agree with that to a degree. Yes. However, I would say that I'm finding out that my brain is a little weird. It's a little wonky, and I might have some stuff going on there. Some ADHD stuff. So procrastination actually isn't just like me being a lazy person. It's a whole cycle and a whole loopy doopy doo thing that it does. So and I make it worse because I know about it. I'm like, why am I like this? So but I do work really well under pressure. I will say that. However, I should not put myself in those situations. I should use my time better.
I've been diagnosed and I've played in a band called Ritalin Kids. You know I have attention problems, but let me ask
I
you
know.
this. I'm seeing squirrels, I have like a subcomputer in the base of my skull that is also processing for the project that I have to get done by the end of the day that I should start
Mhm.
early that I end up doing at the last minute. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
and when once I sit down and knock it out, I've already done the project 1,000 times all day while I'm cleaning or
Doing something
doing other
else.
things. I'm doing it, and I've gone, and it's like living the movie Groundhog Day, where I've given the interview 50 times before I interview the person, or before I edit something, or before I write a song, or I'm already working on it in like my brain.
I do that a lot too. That's actually there's like a bunch of different types of like ADHD and stuff, and I would definitely say in your case if you are like you have more hyperactive while I have more inattentive. I have fidgety stuff that I do, but I'm not you're like task after task after task, and I'm clearly the opposite. I would rather do no tasks and lay there than start any task. So but it's interesting that you say that because sometimes I do that with certain things. Like I may, if I have homework due, I may just go read through it And that way it's just something that I'm thinking about. And it's kind of like I already have done the homework without actually like sitting at the computer and typing it up. And then when I finally sit and get it done, it doesn't take me that long. It's like, why didn't I just do that to begin with and just got it out of my head? Now it's just a bunch of jambalaya. I woke up this morning to pee when I got my kid up for school at like 7:30 in the morning, and some random song popped in my head. 7:30 in the morning, song I haven't even thought of or heard in I don't know how long, and could not go back to sleep. Couldn't go back to sleep because the song wouldn't shut up.
Was it Baby
That was
Shark,
my
Shark, 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 Shark?
no, but that is one. So repetitive songs will stick in my head and I can't get them out, and it's very, very annoying. That one is bad. That one's gonna be stuck in my head all night.
Yeah, that one is bad.
Rajni says another thing ruining my life. Not restoring the Snyderverse yet. LOL. I'm a dork. What does that mean?
That is the Zack Snyder version of DC comic movies. They made a few with him directing, and then they've kind of jumped ship on him, and he's kind of like, screw you guys, I'm going to go work for Netflix, and everybody wants those stories to continue, except the people at Warner Brothers. So that's what he's talking about. They're like, can we just please get some Ben Affleck Batman action, and maybe let's see how the Joker situation turns out with future Superman who's lost his mind because he lost Lois Lane and now he wants to destroy everything, and then they'll have the big, huge, crazy thing. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, do you think, because I'm always like, I don't know what any of this stuff is, I don't know what it means, do you think because it's become a thing that I talk about not knowing about any nerdy stuff, that I purposely now avoid learning about any of it when I could just as easily look stuff up and not be so dumb about it? Like, I enjoy that status. I don't know any of it. Bleh. But I will say that...
Or you could go stealth and learn it all and just act like you don't know.
I do that sometimes when men won't shut up and leave me alone. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything. Oh no, I'm so stupid.
It's okay because
hurting me.
Guys like to explain things, so it's like, well, you see, blah blah blah, and you can make them feel special by just listening to them and talk about some dumb shit, and they'll tell you all about it and be like, I know it sounds nerdy, but like blah blah blah, they don't actually wear capes, it's CGI'd, blah blah, and you're like,
oh my god, I was wearing a Superman hat once and sent a picture of it to someone, and he was like, that's not Superman, that's Justice League, and he corrected me, and I'm like, I don't know what Justice League is. He's like, see the wings coming out from and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I put on a beanie that my son lent me because my house was 42 degrees and we had no heat. And so I thought it was Superman, whatever, who cares? But I will say there is a new Batman movie that's coming out next year. I'm not dorky enough to know about the directors and all that stuff, but I will say that it has my favorite villain, which is the Penguin, because I knew about that from the first one.
Do you know who's playing the Penguin?
Yeah, Colin Farrell.
That's right.
And I was really upset because I thought he was going to look different. And they did make him look cool. I guess more along the lines of maybe a comic about it.
Did you see him? He didn't even look like Colin Farrell.
No, I know. They put a bunch of makeup on him and stuff and like and things on his face. So he looks like, I guess what I heard was that it's from maybe a comic is how he looks more legit. But also, Zoe Kravitz plays Catwoman.
Yeah, and she's pretty cool.
And so I will be seeing the movie just for that.
Awesome! I can't wait. It looks like it's gonna be awesome. They did a new trailer during DC Fandom, which is the big yearly thing where they talk about.
That's where it hurt. It's starting to hurt me. Just the fact that you said that is hurting me.
And they showed the trailer, and it looked awesome. So I think that's gonna be good. So let's get out of these comic questions.
I'm just saying, Clint, you should have me on your other show so I can come in and be like, Zoe Kravitz, she is so hot. And they're just like, you don't know what you're talking about at all, Mia. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, that's actually a good bit. Like, maybe we'll get you on like a Tuesday night, but like, Mia, you got 15 minutes on Tuesday, 30 minutes on Tuesday night, and then I'll talk about some stuff, and then you just don't know anything.
I just weigh in?
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, actually,
does the
so I found comic books that I had as a kid, though, Catwoman comic books, specifically to look for any shred that I used to be a little nerdier than I am now.
Are you building a case? You need evidence. You're like, look, I'm nerdy.
It's stupid, but yeah, kind of. Because I tend to find myself surrounded by friends, like almost all of my friends. So I'm the odd man out who doesn't know these things, who's not into these things. And so I feel like I have to be like, no, no, I do kind of like some of the stuff. I'm not like
Yeah,
just
but
like a stupid chick. And so it just, I don't know. I feel like I'd have more fun if I could like fully dive in. There's like a mental block there for something. So
the, you are nerdy in your own way. You've got your own interests and other things that I don't think you should be trying. I think you should just just be Mia. Mia, you're fantastic, Mia. Just keep being fantastic. And if other people don't get it, then fuck them.
Rajneesh says, just a warning, Mia, if you come on the Versus show, I will make fun of you. LOL. Well, guess what, Rajneesh? I was a stand up comic, so if you're going to dish it, I'm going to dish it right back.
Boom.
Boom.
And that's okay.
Maybe I won't get your jokes if they're about nerdy things, but I will come up with my own jokes.
Yeah. And
Natalie says, me, the nerd best friend. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
The nerd best friend.
And that's
all right. We're going to answer the real questions.
Yeah, and you can talk smack and there's nothing he can do about it because you have a microphone and he doesn't.
This is true.
This is true. Okay, so now Raj is scared. Let's get on this first. This first question sucks, so I'm going to limit this to a 10-second answer on both of our. This was a filler question.
Okay.
What pisses you off while driving?
Are you putting a timer on? Because, oh, Jesus Christ. What pisses me off while driving? Not using your blinker, cutting people off, being a jerk, not going the speed limit. I want to go on a real, like, Dr. Cox scrub style rant. I think I said them all. When nobody's behind you, okay? And the car decides to pull out of a parking lot in front of you when they could have just waited for you to pass and pull out after you. Put on your blinker before you put on your brakes because that'll show that you will be braking. How about that? How about that one, huh? How about that?
Well, those are some good ones.
You're such a...
Yeah, now we're all mad. You know, I hate when they do that. That's a way to get everybody fired up. Mine is when you're going on an on-ramp, you're getting on a highway, and somebody will, instead of just letting you over, they'll speed up to not let you. They're like, I don't want to be behind that guy. They'll speed up and not let you over. And I'm like, dude, like, I promise I'm going to be driving faster than you. And yeah, they'll do that. They'll like speed up to not let you in. So my brother,
I heard in other countries it's not like that. I heard that they let you in and they don't do the bottleneck thing.
Yeah.
That we do. They do this other thing. We're just so stupid here.
In Europe, I could tell you from experience being over there on tour, they're way more polite on the road for sure. It's just like, dude, we're civilized, and people here are playing a video game.
And they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to die or kill you.
Then
or
there's
your kid.
that. My
There's
brother.
reasons why we're supposed to drive the way that we drive, and while I don't love the idea of automation for all driving, I seriously think it would improve. I would hate to not operate a car anymore because I really enjoy it.
I do too.
It would just be so much better for us in America. We're just horrible on the road and we just kill so many people. There's no reason for this many people to be dying. It's insane.
Agreed. And I'm going to agree with this, Raj. Cyclists, they take up too much road. Here in Austin, there's a weird sickness where people on bikes think they're cars. And I know that
they are by law.
I know, but there's like they're not as fast as cars. So it's
they're not. But they voted for the laws so that they have the same laws. They're supposed to be doing all the things as cars do.
But they can't do that. But that's the deal. They will say that, but then they won't stop at a stop sign. Like, no, you don't get to blow through a stop sign if you're a car. But I'm on a bike, and so I have a lot of bike friends, and I'm like, come on. But what really gets me is it's not even like the city people on bikes. It's more like you be on some road out that's not in the city, in town, where you'll have somebody that's dressed up like Lance Armstrong. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, you're doing the Tour de France and you're holding up traffic. Like, come on. And
Yeah.
you know.
That's hard. That happens a lot in the neighborhood close to me, where it's like a bunch of cyclists. But like the cyclists don't bother me. I would much rather them following the rules than not. If they're going the wrong way, the way that you probably wouldn't look more than one time, and then it's like the scooters. How many times? Okay, so you're turning, you're supposed to look left, right, left, but then there's a scooter coming the wrong direction, so you almost hit them with your car. Why is that okay?
It's
I
not.
hate the scooters.
It
I hate the
sucks.
scooters.
Uh,
I don't like the scooters. If you're a scooter person, I don't mean motorized scooters that are like miniature motorcycles.
no, I know.
I mean
You're
the
talking about
stupid.
those little rental scooters.
Yes, the
Those
like
things
ride
suck.
around, and they make the city look awful because they're just strewn everywhere. If you make me have to use the word strewn, then you know I'm serious. Strewn only comes out when I'm serious.
Curtis says, I live in Houston. It's Thunderdome.
Yeah, Houston is horrible for driving. I'm sorry. Austin's bad, but Houston scares me. I hated driving around Houston. I went a couple months ago just to like eat food and chill, and I was so annoyed. I wish I didn't have a car. I wish I was just Ubering everywhere because I was so annoyed with trying to park and stuff. It was bad.
For those in from like Rajneesh, those from like the UK and stuff, in Austin, a few years back, they just like somebody just brought like 1,000 battery operated scooters and with a credit card slot on them, or there's an app or something, and people just ride them around until they run out of battery, and then they jump off and find another one, and they're all over town. They're sprinkled everywhere, and there's people who have jobs that go around and pick up the dead scooters. That's like a job.
And charge them. They get paid to charge them. They probably don't make any money because they're probably just making their electricity bill go up.
I know people that are resentful of those scooters also, who would take those things and drive them out to the outer suburbs, like drive them to Leander and drop them off on a corner.
There was a whole Instagram account when they were on like I want to say maybe Santa Monica Pier, somewhere, some like boardwalk that they brought the scooters on, and there was just like video after video of people destroying them, burying them in the sand, throwing them in the ocean, piling them up like there was a bonfire of them. People were really mad. They actually ended up getting banned wherever it is. I'm thinking it's in California somewhere, one of the boardwalks. But yeah, that doesn't happen here. But anytime I see one that's like hanging off of the side of the Congress Bridge, like about to fall in the water, I'm like, fall in the water, please.
I mean, it's kind of cool if you're a tourist and you're going to come to town and you're like, I'm going to scoot all over downtown Austin and this will be fun. I mean, that's cool, but like this is where we live, and I
will say too, the Lyft drivers who sometimes it sucks, but you pick up real quick like $4 rides, like from here to here, downtown. And if you pick up like 10 of those back to back, you just made $40. Whereas the scooters kind of took that away from Lyft and Uber drivers for making those super quick little rides, because where you used to pick up someone on, Dirty 6th and take them over to East 6th and you'd make $5 and maybe a tip, now you can take a stupid scooter and it steals that money from that driver. So I don't like the scooters.
I don't like them either. F scooters.
This was a 10-second answer each.
10 seconds. Scooters are people too, guys, says Curtis. And then Darren says, being a Harley rider, those morons don't look out for us on bikes. Yeah, I guess those morons are. I don't think you're talking about scooters. I think maybe you are, or maybe you're talking about the cyclists. Don't look out for the hardest. Yeah.
I was raised in a family where people rode motorcycles, so I've always tried to be extra aware. I'm that person that gives way too much space when you're on the road, a cushion. But then if I feel like there's a car who's going to pull in and like close that space that doesn't need to be closed, I'll speed up to just a smidge. I feel like I'm like protecting the motorcycles out there. Just one at a time.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
All right, let's move on to another question. Oh, What are some relationship red flags? This is woo! Should I fire an air horn? Here we go. All good. Relationship red flags, guys. At home, if you have some ideas like lying or or like what are some relationship red flags?
Well, I just want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That hindsight is always 2020, right?
That's true.
So usually when you leave a relationship, then you start going, oh, these are red flags. These were red flags. These were red flags. You don't always see them. Or you convince yourself they're not that big of a deal. If you're not staying true to your core values, you're probably going to get yourself into situations where you ignore your red flags and then you're heartbroken down the line. I do charge by the hour. No, there's a lot of stuff. I don't know. What do you think? I have a list. I could come up with 100 right now.
If somebody's like, if you leave the seat up, that's a red flag. I'm like, if you fall into the toilet, that's a red flag.
I'm gonna squash that one though. Can I just say something?
I'm just saying that's a thing that needs to be dealt with. It's not a red flag.
That's not a red flag. However, side note, toilet seats have a seat that you sit on with your butt. They also have a top seat that is made to close the toilet when you flush, because when you flush a toilet, it sends bacteria up to 14 feet into the air. They've done studies.
And my ceiling's only 8 feet, so it's like, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's disgusting. It gets in the air and the particles. All I'm saying is the seat up, seat down debate. It's not about men need it up and women need it down. There's another lid we are not discussing. So it should always be put down, especially when you're doing the twosies. Okay.
That's my rule. And
I will tell you the way I know this. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I kind of did. Because if you keep that lid down, you flush your toilet every single time with the top lid down, eventually that top lid will start to get a little bit mildewy. And that tells you that the water is getting up and touching it.
That's not just mildew, that's mildew-doo.
That's mildew-doo. That's really funny, actually.
Oh, it's really gross.
That's not a red flag, though. You're right. That's not. To be discussed.
That's a minor thing. That's training, I want to say. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if we're going to coexist in the same universe, we need to have an understanding. I don't like this. You don't like this. We don't like this. You need, it's, what is that again? What do they call that?
Communication.
Yes, communication.
Red flags are being rude to service industry workers.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Just on that toilet seat thing, like I as a young man, I had several debates over that, to where I'd leave the seat up or not, and what I started doing was putting the top seat down, and then that was unacceptable, and I said no. If I gotta lift the seat or put the seat down, you have to lift the seat and put the seat down, and then everybody's on an even playing field. That was not an acceptable answer, but that's a 15-year-old argument, so we can move on. That's just apparently I have trauma from that, so.
Oh, I'm sorry that you have trauma. Red flags for me that I've ignored in the past were partners who have cheated on people. I will never, ever, ever ignore that ever again. If you have ever cheated on a partner, I will not continue to date you, and it is a non-negotiable. I will end it right then and there, so I will never ignore that one ever again. It's really important to me. I don't care what your situation was. Cheating is never okay. And I will say the bigger part to that is, now, I guess it kind of maybe depends on the situation a little bit, but if you never told your partner, let's say you did it and it's a weird situation, whatever, case by case, and then you never told them, that's a huge red flag, because the biggest thing for me is lying. I can't stand it. I can't handle it. I don't do it. I don't care about what. There's no reason to white lie. There's no reason to white lie to get out of a party or a situation. I just don't do any dishonesty at all.
Just straight up all the time.
My friends will tell you that about me, that I will just say the thing, and it might hurt feelings, but I can't do dishonesty. I don't know what it is, but it drives me crazy.
Hey, my mom just texted me. I got to run over and help her out real quick. I'm sorry, I got to go. No. We're not going to do that. We're like, hey, I'm not having fun at your party, so I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you later.
I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna try really hard not to be rude, but I'll be like, "Hey, I'm tired and I wanna go," which is probably,
That's another version of that. Yeah,
honest. But I've been on dates where I've been like, "Hey, I'm not feeling it. I'm gonna head out." And no, I don't wanna see you again. I'm not gonna ever just be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and try to put you down easy. What's the point of that? Life doesn't operate like that.
that's
And
true.
it's just better if we're just honest. And there's so many people, you're so honest and it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing how honest you are. But I can't continue to date you because I'm a dickbag. And so deep down inside, you make me feel like shit for that. Um,
Uh, let's see here.
oh,
Okay, let's
there's
go
a
to.
lot of red flags
Well,
though.
here on a. I don't know how far off this theme will be, but what are some reasons that you have cut friends off from your life? Answering for a friend or asking for a friend.
Um,
I can
a
start if
big
you want.
one. Yeah, yeah. If
Yeah,
you have one, but if you have
I
one.
I don't really cut people off. I feel like cut off is like a. There has to be some serious drama for that, but I might like if somebody's a lot of work or just like starting to feel toxic or something, I'm pretty nice natured to where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to disown them, but I'm just a little busy to have them in my life. So I do the thing that me and my buddy were like, yeah, the straight arm, like the I keep them at arm's length, you know what I mean? And if I see
Hmm.
them, I'm polite and
Yeah.
hey man, yeah, it's good to see you and then I peace out. And it's like if I don't have to live with somebody in my life every day, I can tolerate a lot. It's like people that are my immediate life, I always
Yeah.
keep it pretty close knit. So, um, but what are some reasons to cut somebody off? I mean, there's a lot of reasons to do that, but I mean,
Yeah.
I
I
just
mean, if they're horrible people, I mean, and they do awful things, then yeah, but I think for me, the only people I've ever cut out, like straight up, like, you are not a friend of mine anymore, were people that were really once very close to me and I would have considered like my closest friends who were just disrespectful and not just like a basic disrespectful to the point where when I called them out on it, it wasn't like, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry, let's talk about it. It was like, I did what I did, so what? And for me, I was like, yeah, no, I don't need that in my world. I get to the point with people where I don't hold a grudge for very long. It's just it's actually kind of worse than that. It's not like I hate you, it's like I nothing you.
that's how
Like
I
I don't
am too.
want you I want you to like I don't wish you dead and I wish you to like have nourishing meals and a happy life, but I just nothing. I have no feelings towards you anymore whatsoever. And that's kind of how I am. But other people, like you're saying, I mean, gosh, you meet so many people in your life. There are times that you like have a new friend and then you realize, okay, they're a lot for me, or they're a little out there. Like I would never be like, hey, I can't be friends with you anymore. I'd probably just not hang out with them quite as often, or.
And there's a difference between like cutting somebody off and like phases of your life. You know what I mean? Sometimes people like
Yeah.
grow in different ways and it's just like, and I have a lot of friends that I spend a lot of time with that I don't see anymore that are
Yeah.
still my buddies and I haven't hung out with them for 5 years, but if I ran into them somewhere I'd be like, "Dude, like happy to see you," and I think
Yeah.
that's okay. But I'm like you. If somebody seriously injustices me, they're like I cut them off,
Yeah.
but the difference is I don't ever let them know it. I just say, you know what, you've lost your privileges, and
Yeah.
like so I'll if I run into that person, it's like, hey man, good to see you, and then I just walk away, and I'm like, I'm out. I don't ever I don't want to give them the satisfaction of knowing that they affected me emotionally or anything like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? I'm like, cool, you're dead to me. See you later. There's only a
I would say
there's only a couple of people that and sometimes it's not even when I say you're dead to me, that's a strong phrasing. I don't really feel that way about anybody, but if I will see certain people in Homer Simpson in the bushes, I'm like, I don't even want to talk to that guy. But like,
I can't see them. Yeah, I think there's things too that I just can't tolerate anymore as I've gotten older where I used to maybe be able to be like, "Oh, they just say stupid crap." But if you say things that are racist or if you say things that are just derogatory towards women or these things, I think I give people a small, tiny little rope where I'll be like, I will call them out on it and be like, hey, what you just said was this and that. And it depends on their reaction towards that. And if they're like, I didn't realize that, or let's talk about that. But if they don't, and they're just like, nah, I am how I am, and I said what I said, then I'm kind of like, oh, I don't really want to be around you. I just don't have a lot of tolerance for that. If you're going to be anti, LGBTQIA. I mean, I'm in the burlesque scene. It's like, how could
Yeah.
I possibly be around somebody who's going to be derogatory towards the majority of the people I know and surround myself with? It's no, I just can't do
It's
it.
weird,
So
dude. I recently had an old friend from long time ago reach out to me and hit me up, and I talked to him for a while, and he was still awesome in some ways, but he also was like, it was really messed me up. I was like, dude, this guy is like not a person that like. It, it was kind of unsettling. I was telling a friend about it. I was like,
yeah,
just saying some racist stuff and just different thing, but just kind of laughing it off. And but I was like, bro, like, dude, like, I'm like, I don't know if you're from out in the country or what, but I was like, here in
yeah,
civilization, we don't act like that. We're not. It's in the '80s. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
anyway, it messed. Kind of bothered me, and so it's like I still love the guy from growing up with the dude, and you know what I mean, but like it's like I don't know that I want to like uh, I don't know, I don't want to hang out with
yeah.
the guy, you know what I mean? I'm
I
just
have
kind of
friends like that
I
too.
would rather
Who,
I would rather like hold the part of that person that close to me,
that you knew.
the memory that I knew,
Yeah,
and not tarnish it with the new version of this guy. I'm like, wow, what happened to
yeah,
this guy?
exactly.
It sucks. It's weird.
It
Let's
sucks.
Yeah,
We have
it's
some
I don't know if you have
common
any
scary
friends that
people.
are like that, but it was
It
really a
happened to me recently, especially with political stuff, a
mhm.
couple of people where I was just like, "Whoa, what?" And it felt really hard, for me to think that, but,
It
I
it
mean,
and it sucks too with politics because you're like, hey, do I really want to like let politics? Of course, they're supposed to butt heads. Like, do I want to let that affect my uh, opinion of a human being that I consider a friend? But also, what the fuck is wrong with this person? You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
it's weird. It's like
Well, and
it's
there's some political issues that are political in ways that make sense, that are about finances and best healthcare and stuff like
yeah,
that. And then of recent, there are some political issues that bring in things that are a bigger deal about rights for minorities and
right.
women and a lot of other things that I just can't waver on at all. And I wish that it wasn't that, but it is that. And politics have shifted a great deal, especially because of our last 4 years. So, it's hard. It's tough. It's tough. It's hard. But,
Yeah,
and the thing is, it's easier with people like that not to be like, well, you're this and this and this, and I can't have you in my life. It's easier just to start distancing yourself from those people and realizing you have a different viewpoint and opinion and not just get into a huge argument. Because what I found is you can't really change people's
you're
minds very
never gonna
much. People
change
are kind
any.
of,
You'll never change anybody's mind. It's not even worth getting into it. It's like,
yeah.
you know
We
what?
have some comments here.
Oh yeah,
Um, let's see. We
I,
have.
I'm gonna put that up first. Uh,
I called one out for using women for money. The "what can you do for me" attitude. Can you do
um,
for me?
let's see. All right, let's do this, Rajneesh. For me to cut people off, dishonesty, racism, difficult to be around, getting involved, too much BS drama.
Too
It's
much.
right. Who's got time
Yeah.
for drama? Not me. Um,
Rajneesh also says serious red flag, seeing them treat people badly, they can benefit from them. And then this one he says is red flag on a date, guy not offering to pay on a date, girl not offering to pay at least half. So for me, I'm always offer to pay my portion of a date. We've talked about this too on the show. The only time I don't offer is when the person is like, I'm taking you out and they've selected the place, and it, especially if it's a higher price point, if they've selected a place and offered to take you out, it should be assumed that they're paying, because why would people assume you would want to pay those prices, I would think.
Right.
But if it's like a mutual, this is where we're meeting or this is that, of course I'm always going to be like, hey, can I pay for my portion of stuff? And I would probably still offer, even if they selected the place and said, I'm taking you on a thing. I always offer. And I actually would prefer them to say yes and let me pay half. I get a little grumpy when I'm out with someone who's constantly doesn't let me pay, because I'm like, it's nice, but I can
I'm
pay
gonna
my
pay,
way.
but you have to have intercourse with me. I'm just putting that out there.
Sometimes people are like, hey, it's my treat. I'm going to treat you. And that's kind of nice. But if I offer to pay half, just say yes and let me do it, please. I'm not offering just to be nice. I'm offering because I really want to pay for my portion. I wouldn't be, offering just to offer.
I'm pretty much I'm pretty that way where I'm like, hey, yeah, don't worry, I got it or whatever, and then somebody will say, hey, no, here I got half, whatever. But I have run into an issue where it's like I got to where this was a long time ago, and I wasn't making very much money back then either. I was young, and like
Yeah.
to where like we'd go out somewhere, hit a drive-through or whatever, and they just start ordering stuff, and then I'd get to the window, and then I'd be like. And they're like, "Oh, I don't have any money," and I'm like, "Whoa, hold on a
Why
second."
did you order all that?
Yeah, and it's weird. Some people are wired that way, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's weird, but I think people should just be open and honest about it and be like, hey, let me pay my share. Let me pay my share. Everybody
Yeah.
try and contribute, and we're good. And for
Look,
me,
if
I'm like,
somebody says my treat, I'll let them
it is
treat
what it
me.
is.
But if I offer, don't turn down my off. Just be like, okay, yeah, sounds great. Let's split it. Or Venmo me, or they might be like, just Venmo me $20. And I'll be like, okay, yeah. I'll do that.
And also, if you want to pay for me, that's super cool too. I'm like, okay, and then I'll get you next time. But I do have a thing, and I know we're living in the future, and this is like people will roll their eyes at this. But if I hold the door open for you, I would do that for a dude too. You know what I mean? Like I was raised a Southern gentleman. My mom raised me to
Yeah.
hold the door open, and I think that's okay. I don't think people should be shamed for that. And you know what I mean? But I also think that any other gender or race or anything can also hold the door open for themselves or for me. That's fine too. It does. If somebody opens the door for me, I say thank you and I walk through it. I have been in a
The
couple.
problem
There's and
is,
I get it. I get it.
yeah.
I know there's a thing of macho men, doing the thing, but
But we can't tell as women.
yeah.
We don't get to know who, you know what I mean? So it's hard. It's hard walking around being a woman where some freaking dude's gonna just hold the door or get the door. And you're like, just, please,
How
just let me do it.
let me ask you, Mia, as a woman who's been on dates, how does a female think that's going to work out if you're getting to know somebody new, and then you
Mhm.
go and the guy holds the door open to be nice, and then the person says, "I can hold open my own door, thank you." I mean, what do you think it's going to do? Like, do you like? You can walk through the door and be nice back, or you can make this guy feel like he offended you and he's like, I was just trying to be nice, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I get
Because
it.
what it looks like is that you don't get it. So what it looks like as a woman is that, like, you're not staying in touch with what's going on,
And
and that is.
I
And
partial
so I will say that in that situation, I'm usually just gonna make a stupid joke. I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, thank you. My risks are very weak. I wouldn't have been able to do that for myself," or just say something really stupid to play it off. But I would never, like the way you said it. It was like the girl was just like, "I got, like, I can do this myself." I try not to be a jerk about it. I try to be sarcastic and funny about it. And then it's very easy, if you do make a joke, to discuss preferences and be like, "Hey, I get you're probably just trying to be nice, but my preference is that, like, I can just get my own door. I can get my car door. You really don't have to do that for me." And then go from there. And what I found is men kind of try to, at least in the beginning, till they start, deciding that you're just not what they want. They try to please you, and they're pretty trainable. So, I mean, just tell them your preferences and not be an asshole about it. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I only
So
brought it up. I get it. Like, I only brought it up because I thought it was a good point of conversation and maybe a good thing
no,
for
it
people
is.
to hear at home. Like
People
for
don't think about it though. I think people just don't think about it.
and it what's weird too is, again, I say, I'm a Southern gentleman. That's how my mom raised me. I've been to places. I've been to
Not an
Boston,
excuse.
where I held the door open for somebody and they looked at me like I was trying to like rob them, and or spoke to somebody
Yeah,
at a
yeah,
convenience store. Hey, good morning. Blah, blah, like, who the fuck are you? And it's funny, uh, growing up in Texas might be a little different, or I don't know, the whole Southern gentleman. There's a whole bunch of Southern douchebags too, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
like, I have had somebody say, I can get my own door, thank you, and I'm like, wow.
yeah. And she just whoever this person is, she just that was her like defenses. And I would think as a man, see this if you're in touch and you know, then her animosity maybe whatever wasn't the nicest thing in the moment, but I think it's still justified. And if you are current on things, you should know that like, okay, she did that because it's defense, because look at all that she's probably been through some shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, Jesus Christ, she can't even walk to her car at night alone because she's probably gonna get freaking, whatever. So it's just a whole thing. You know what I mean? We talked about this in the show before. It's like, God, I wish I could just like go on a jog at night alone. Just I don't even jog, but I would start if I could. But yeah, there's better. I mean, there's obviously kinder ways for people to approach situations. Like, okay, let him get the door for you, and then later explain to him maybe he didn't know, maybe he wasn't in the know, and it's not our job to teach you. But I'm just saying, I tend to call people out. I have a let me read it to you. Fine, while we're on the subject.
Hey, let me ask you this while you're looking that up. What about people who don't say thank you? Yeah, like
Oh, I don't like
I've
that.
I've been at a bar and I bought a drink. Hey, I got your drink. Don't worry. And I pay, and then the person doesn't say thank you. How does that get you?
Ooh, that's weird. That's a maybe a baby red flag, maybe a yellow flag. I don't know. That's I say thank you a lot.
Me too,
Okay,
all the
so
time.
this is an actual conversation on a dating, and we are running pretty far over. So, um, as the person that's calling me knows that I'm whatever podcasting. Okay, so this is the conversation I had with somebody, a real life person on a dating app. So it was perfectly normal conversation where we're just like, oh, how are things or whatever. And then I said I'm a nursing student, and his next response is, by the way, I just want to point something out. He's a stupid good looking person, and I typically the second I see someone that's just like chiseled and perfect, I'm like, I don't even want to talk to you. I know that I'm not gonna have a good time, but I'm like, whatever, let me indulge this person for a second. I said I was a nursing student. His response back to me was, I hear nurses are hardworking and crazy women, worth discussing over cocktails, wouldn't you say? And I said, I mean, I don't need a man telling me I'm crazy based on my profession. He goes, ha ha ha, touche, and then decides to send a meme that says, clever girl. And I said, geez, clever girl, really? And he was like, it was from Jurassic Park, and he's like, not a Jurassic Park fan. And I was like, I don't have the energy to tell you. So
That's
I did. I sent a message. But listen, this is my point. My point is I sent a message before I just unmatched, or before I was like, you suck as a human. I sent a message and I said, this is why that's offensive. Oh, he didn't say not a Jurassic Park fan, I take it, yet. I sent the message that I was like, this is why that's offensive. This is why you shouldn't say that to women. As a cis white man who's very attractive, you need to do better, try harder, just be a little more aware of how you're talking to women. And I know I don't want to meet for a drink, is how I ended it. And I thought that that was like a pretty like direct way to be like, maybe you were unaware of what you were saying was pretty stupid, but here, because yeah, this dude walks around, he's so good looking, just can do whatever the hell he wants, and he's probably gotten away with it. Then his response back to me was, not a Jurassic Park fan. And that's when I unmatched. That's when I was like, okay, so you think you're very funny and cheeky and you're going to not acknowledge somebody calling you on your bullshit. Yeah, you can just go fuck off. So,
yeah, clever girl. Might as well patted you on the head. You know what I mean? Like, clever girl.
and there's a comic artist I follow on Instagram who remade the clever girl meme from Jurassic Park, and it's like he's like says clever girl to the dinosaur, and the dinosaur is like, oh, I'm really into you now. He's flirting with me. And he's like, maybe he wants to talk to me. And then the dinosaur ends up eating, and he's like, oops, oh no, I got too excited and ate the man. That's how it ends. And it's just really, it's really funny. I like it a lot. So,
Actually,
anyway.
a comic book friend of mine that who's on Instagram and makes comics, a good friend of mine used to tell me too that back now he's married and happy and doing great, but like back in the old days when he was dating, he would write outlandish stuff on Tinder. And like
Uh-huh.
if he matched with somebody, he would say some outlandish stuff that was fringe, and that was to filter out because he was a weirdo like I am, you know what I mean? Like and
Yeah.
that was to filter out the normal people who wouldn't get it. Like if I could say this joke and they get it, then we're gonna get along great. Otherwise, they're not gonna, you know what I mean? And I always thought that was funny.
I mean, I guess if it works for you, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I
it
have to
was
know someone a little better
this wasn't a
before they say
PC
something inappropriate.
this wasn't a PC thing,
Yeah.
like situation
It's
like
just a
you had
silly
where him.
weirdo thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he would just say some crazy wacky stuff and whatnot. Are you needing to bail out here pretty soon? Because we can skip some questions. I don't know if you're trying to get out. We've been on for an hour and 12 minutes. So if you want to do like one more
Yeah.
question and bail,
Yeah.
we can do
Yeah. We
that.
can do another question and look at some comments real fast.
And let's while we're on. I want to do that one. I want to do that one.
People say I'm same as Clint. I hold the door for men and women. I don't think it's chivalry, it's just good manners. Agreed. I totally agree. It's good manners. However, we don't get to know the
I was
difference as women. We don't get to know. So that's why it's hard for us. That's why we get a little grumpy about it sometimes. And not all women do, but I do. And I call people out on it in a kinder way,
Bobby says, if I get the door first, I'll hold it open for everyone. Manners. That's because Bobby is an incredibly wonderful person. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
And she follows Clint Baker Patreon. So there you go.
Rajneesh says the women who snapped at Clint that may have been defensive due to past bad experiences, or she may be she may be a horrible person. There's no real way of knowing, so not worth thinking about. Yeah, I mean that's true, and that's what I'm saying is like
Me,
she could have totally said it in a different way, a nicer, kinder way. May turn it into a discussion about things or preferences or feelings, or there's a lot of stuff that could have come out of that instead of her just snapping and being a
yeah.
crab.
Or maybe I just have a jerk face. I mean,
It's a punchable face, but no, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's not.
uh. Oh, and Rajesh also says, well, I guess when a guy thinks he's great looking, he doesn't feel like he has to develop a personality. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Miss
he doesn't have to work on himself ever. He won't have to. And if I was like, I don't want to spend time with you because you said these are things that offended me, he's just like, okay, on to the next one. Because there will be a girl out there who doesn't get it, or is not like you, or is not gonna call you on your stuff, who he can coax into bed. So
like,
sorry, that
oh,
just
look at
doesn't
his
work for me.
abs. Let's
Yeah,
see here.
bleh. I don't like gym buff beasts.
Bro.
I didn't I tell you that before? It's from Rocky Horror Picture Show,
No.
where Frankenfurter is asking Janet what she thinks about Rocky, who just came out of the tank, and he's all chiseled and he's in his little gold, whatever speedo, and she's like, Frankenfurter's like, "What do you think about him?" And Janet's like, "I don't like too many muscles." And then Frankenfurter's like, "Well, I didn't make him for you." And it's funny to me because I've always identified with that. I'm like, if you spend that much time at the gym, you're not for me. Could just move around, please go.
I've got dad bod. Just throwing it out there. All right, let's move.
I've dated 100% of the men I've dated have dad bod.
What's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving? That's a quick one. It's only because we're hopping up on Thanksgiving, American holiday. Apologize to the Europeans out there.
Yeah. Do you know how hard it was for me to not just say what I wanted to say?
Yeah, just say green bean casserole and let's move on. Like,
I was trying so hard not to say what I was gonna say. I make this corn casserole that everyone loves, and they're like, "Oh, it's so good," and they love it. And I'm like, "It is like 10 pounds of butter, and it's so bad for you, but it's tasty." I think my favorite thing is to do a smorgasbord the next day. a little stuffing, a little mashed potatoes, a little of the corn casserole, all in one bowl, and just mix it up.
Darren Marson says deep fried turkey. My brother made a turducken one year, and
Ooh.
I'm kind of scared to eat anything that has the word turd in it, though. So I like turducken.
Turducken.
It's weird.
Yeah, I don't like the duck part, so I'm not into duck. But the turd part sounds good to me. The tur without the duckin'. Let's not do any duckin'. What's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving, Clint? Duckin'?
Oh, my favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving. I love all of it. The whole thing is turkey dressing, all of it. I love it all. I'm all about it. Mashed potatoes. That's my favorite time of the year, just for that. Just for the food and get to hang out with my fam, and the food is fantastic. And Darren is right. Deep fried turkey is fantastic.
Yeah. One time when I was pregnant with my son, it was like August or September or something, and I was really craving Thanksgiving foods. And I had moved out of my place, and I was waiting for my new place to be ready, so I was staying with my dad for a few weeks. And I was just like, I just mentioned to him like one time, I was just like, God, I'm really craving Thanksgiving foods. I was probably just craving really starchy things, a very starchy meal. And I was out hanging out with friends, and I came home for dinner that night, and my freaking father, my sweet little short, cute little dad, made me a full Thanksgiving meal in the middle of the summer. He bought the turkey, but he made all the other sides, and it was the sweetest freaking thing ever, ever, ever. And so that is a better memory for me than actual Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving. Rajneesh says, the concept of Thanksgiving sounds odd, but then again, I'm British, so not supposed to get it. LOL. Yeah. Honestly, without going through any kind of historical
the concept is odd.
Historical drama, I think the idea is to wake up and be happy that you and your family have things to eat and live in a place that. Hey, I'm just thankful for everything I got, and let's have a big feast and spend time together. That's basically the crux of it, without arguing historical inaccuracies and everything else.
Historical stuff out of it. It's just a day to like be with family and be thankful. And the meal is kind of weird, but it's delicious and it's starchy and it's wonderful. And then there's pie, and then there's games. Sometimes there's board games, and then. We're like a boring dry family. We don't do alcohol, but who knows? Maybe I'll just get wasted this year at my dad's house. He's never seen me drunk, but maybe if I just let him see me like really drunk, we'll see.
This one, I'm looking forward to this question, so I'm gonna sneak it in before we end it. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
What's the correct response when your spouse asks you what your least favorite part of their body is? Asking for a friend. What's the correct response? That was a real question. What's the correct response when your spouse says or partner says, "What's your least favorite part of my body?"
What kind of person is asking a question like this that is setting themselves up to be in an argument or in a trap? This is a trap. What the hell?
You ready for my response? Right here.
Yeah.
That's bait. That's what that is. That is fucking bait.
There is no correct or incorrect response, I think, because this is awful. If somebody asked me that question, I would be like, are you doing okay?
Yeah,
How are you? Tell me about how you're feeling, because I'm not in a situation where I'm walking around going, let's point out each other's flaws. That sounds really awful.
That actually should go. That
toxic situation.
That should go on the red flag list from like 4 questions ago. That's a weird one. That's Admiral Akbar saying it's a trap.
I don't like that at all.
That's the fish guy from Star Wars. You know the fish head looking guy?
No, I don't.
It's a trap. Anyway.
Does it seem like I would know what you're talking about?
No, just play dumb.
Which Star Wars? How old?
Like all of them.
Oh, Well, I've seen
The
Zero.
old ones like OG, and also in some of the newer ones. He's a guy wearing. He looks like an astronaut if you took his head off and you put a red fish head on.
Let me Google it. What's it called?
Admiral Akbar. Yeah, he's in
Admiral.
Empire. Darren says he's in. You'll know when you see him.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought of that as a fish though. More like a squid.
Yeah, it's like a fish head. There's no tentacles.
Oh my god, I've never been more turned on in my life though. Holy shit. This is why the nerds are into this stuff, because these dudes are, oof, yes, give it to me.
Yes.
What's the actual
Well, there's a famous
right.
quote from Admiral Akbar where he says, "It's a trap," and that's what that was.
Yeah,
So if somebody
this sounds
says,
like a
"What is
trap.
your least favorite part of my body?" That's fucking trap, and you plead the fifth. That's the
I would
crib.
say it's your mind. Now shut up and move on.
Your brain is your.
Well, clearly your brain, because if you would have asked me something that dumb.
Well, what do you do if your girlfriend of 5 months is on Bumble? How should you react to that?
I don't know. It depends. Well, if you're on, how did you find out she's on Bumble? Were you on Bumble?
That's an excellent question. Context.
Is she your girlfriend? What is the situation? Have
Girlfriend.
you discussed it? Are you monogamous?
5 months of being my girlfriend, and I find out she's on Bumble. How should I react?
I don't know. I would have to know the situation. Have you had the conversation? Are you exclusive? Are you this or that? You should react by saying, "Hey, can we talk about this, please? Let's talk about it." I mean, that's kind of how you go, right?
Do we say it with that accent? Hey, can we talk about this? I think we should
can we talk about this? I want to talk about it. I don't know. I don't know. These people that ask these questions, it's like, should you even be in a relationship if you've never heard of confronting people in communication? All these questions, the answer's always the same. And I'm so shocked by it. What should I do? Oh, you should go out and buy her a teddy bear that is big enough to hide yourself in, and then you get I don't know. I'm gonna start answering these questions just like the most ridiculous answer. You should put her stapler in Jell-O.
Yeah. What is a Bumble? A Bumble. What is a Bumble? A Bumble is kind of like Tinder.
Dating website.
It's
just like Tinder.
Thing.
It's a dating swipe left, swipe right dating website.
Mia, if we didn't have these stupid questions, we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
That is true. You're right. Rajani said if she's active on Bumble, it's a bit of a red flag. Talk to her. I mean, it depends. You could think this person's your girlfriend, but maybe you never ever had the exclusivity conversation. So I need context.
Yeah, and you also maybe like I've been on Tinder for a long time, and I've also been to where I hadn't checked my Tinder in a long time. So it's like maybe I'd start dating somebody for a few months and not even go on Tinder, but I have a profile out there that's, you know what I mean? And then it like, hey,
around. That's
and
what I'm
be
saying.
like, oh my God, I didn't even realize I haven't looked at that in months. You know what I mean? It could be something like that.
It seems like this person maybe saw it on her phone or something though.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's also people. I have one friend who he's been my friend for years. We've never met in person. We met on Tinder, and we never have even exchanged phone numbers. We talk through WhatsApp now. He doesn't live here. He lives in a different state. But we seriously talk about everything. We've talked for years, and it's ever like, hey, if you're ever in my area, we'll meet up. But sometimes still randomly we'll send each other messages through Tinder. I don't know why, just like it just does for a joke. But yeah, this is like 3 years of knowing this person who, if he would have sent me a message on Tinder, which I'm not on right now, it would pop up as a notification on my phone. That's probably a more unique situation.
I got a question for you. Have you ever been swiping on Tinder and then you like get on and it's a friend of yours who's like a guy friend of yours? I've done this many times where it's somebody I know. And to be funny,
you're swiping on dudes, Clint?
No, girlfriend.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm kidding.
But it'd be like you and I talk. We know each other. We're cool. But they're like.
I 100% swipe on everyone I know, especially if I can make it awkward.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like say it's like if I matched with you, or I didn't match, but I like you pop up, and then I'm like, oh, this is funny. I'm gonna swipe right just to be funny, but then I'm like, wait, what if I swipe right and then Mia's like, I feel it too. And then all of a sudden, like, you made, you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh shit. And I was just being funny. And it'd be like one of my best friends' ex-girlfriends who we got along great. And I'm like, oh, hey, it's Melissa. And then I'm like, I'm going to swipe right just to be hilarious. And then we're like, oh shit. And then she's like,
but don't you think it's better that came out eventually, you know?
But then,
and then
they're like,
it's probably better.
and
that
then
you knew, you know?
They're like, and then all of a sudden they're like, Clint, I've felt this all these years. And you're like, I don't feel anything. I was just being funny, and like I've almost done that a few times. I've matched with people where I wanted to swipe right just to be silly because that's how I am, and then you're like, that's not silly. That's just dumb. And then like, are they gonna? I feel like my friends know me well enough to know that. Am I being weird?
Well, I would say maybe if it's like, you know. My point is if that did happen with a close friend and they were like admitted feelings, you could be like, oh, I was just doing it to be funny and ironic. But now that I know you have feelings for me, maybe we should like talk about it. Wouldn't you rather know that somebody who's been pining over you? You know what I mean? It's better that it comes out.
What if I swiped right on you and then you're like, hey, cool, maybe we should go to Red Lobster now. And then I'm like, no, I was just being funny.
Yeah, then it's better that you knew that I had feelings, silent feelings. It's good that it came out eventually, is my point.
Yes.
Or you could just not swipe on people you know to avoid this altogether, Clint.
Yeah, or just swipe left. That's it.
Stop committing to the joke.
Okay.
Clint,
right.
I gotta go.
Let's get you out of here, guys. If you
I gotta go because I can't stop looking at the picture of this dude from Star Wars, and I have a date with a. Never mind.
It's a trap. Guys, sometimes we answer serious questions, and sometimes there are very serious questions. And if you are in a serious emotional state and you're having a hard time and you need someone to talk to, hit the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Excuse me. It's 1-800-273-TALK. Guys, even when you feel like there's nobody there, there's people there, man, waiting for you. So hit them up, and if they can't help you, they'll get you with somebody who can. And everybody in the chat, we really appreciate you guys hanging out and commenting and being awesome and throwing us questions. If anybody has any questions that they want to see on a future episode, you can email us. You can message us on Instagram. You look up Answering for a Friend, or Facebook Answering for a Friend. Message us there and we will hit you back. You can catch me on it used to be Tuesdays, but now it's going to be Fridays. We're moving the show starting next week. We're moving Versus to Fridays, so you can catch me there with Curtis, and it's always great having you guys here, so thank you so much. Mia, thank you. Do you have any Mia stuff you want to promote, or you're like, no, I'm going to stay completely anonymous and
No, I'm not going to promote anything. I have nothing to promote.
Awesome.
I'm in exam hell, and that's all I have time to focus on right now.
Well, you can promote good health and being awesome, and I'll promote Versus next Friday. We'll see you guys soon. If you're in the United States, have a happy Thanksgiving next week, and if you're in the UK, just have a happy week. We'll see you guys soon. This has been Answering for a Friend. We love you guys, and we will see you soon.